And welcome to the final part of How to Pray the Right Way, the Master Key of Magic. I think it's really important for you to watch part one, even if you don't watch it now, just go back and check it out later to understand everything we're going to do in part two. Part two is going to be going off of all the things that we talked about in part one. I'll summarize, I'll bring some stuff back, we'll do some callbacks from there, but this is going to be the calculus. If part one was the algebra, part two is the calculus. By the way, I am accepting questions this time around, but only pertaining to how to pray, perform magic, manifestation, etc., etc. Essentially, manipulating space-time with your mind is what's happening here. So any questions regarding that, I will answer those questions, but nothing on the outside. Everyone knows that I'm going to be taking a break, so I'm not going to be doing a lot of answering questions anymore. But you can always get in contact with me. I still do the email questions. I still do the consulting. So you can still get a hold of me there if you really want to get some answers to your questions. But let's get started. The difference between what I do and what most other people do is most people teach you a field theory, right? Think of it as like science, okay? So you have quantum physics. Then you have, the uncertainty principle is sort of a field theory. The quantum physics helps them to understand the uncertainty principle and all the other things in quantum mechanics, right? Or biology would be the science or the mathematics of it, and then evolution would be a field theory. Okay, so most people are teaching you a field theory, Enochian magic, tarot, divining with pendulums, etc., etc. And then even more than that, there's gatekeepers who know the magic, and then they just use it for you, like they do your astrology or they do your tarot. So there's three levels. There's those who know the magic who help you. But there's nothing wrong with it, by the way. I'm not judging any people doing this. I'm just telling you exactly what I'm going to be teaching you today, so you can really understand the weight of what I'm telling you today. I'm giving you the master key of magic. That all of the occult circles, all the secret societies, this is like one of the last things they teach you. I'm teaching you it for free, open, and once you actually apply these things, anybody here could be a master magician. I'm giving you the blessing. Go on and cast spells and speak word into flesh, okay? So what I'm teaching you is the mathematics and science behind magic fundamentally. And then you can create all your own field theories, okay? Think of it that way. So the first thing I want to explain to you is the fundamental things you need for magic, okay? And I want to break it down kind of the way we think about a rocket ship. I think it's a great metaphor. You have your fuel, you have your ignition, your engine, your mechanics, which make it go, and then you have your navigation. Your fuel is chi, Holy Spirit. And here's a really important note that everyone needs to understand. You're very welcome, everyone, and hi to everyone in the comments on both sides. There's a real issue in some of the Abrahamic religions, and this point is extremely important to understand. People talk about casting spells and performing magic and divining, and people from Christianity will tell you it's evil. It's not, okay? The real issue with the difference between divining and prophesizing is if you take on the power and the credit for the power to yourself in a prideful way, which goes into that toxic Lucifer energy. You are the God and you can do whatever you want. Okay, that's the only pitfall here. When they say, oh, if it's not Christian, it's bad, is essentially what they're doing. Some people say yoga is evil. Some people say Kundalini is evil. Except these are all natural processes. They're just not using the branding of the Catholic Church. You know what the Catholic Church did? This won't be a big history lesson, but this is really important. The Catholic Church, whatever the Catholic Church actually is, when they took over, the first thing they did is they went to all the pagan sites and all the pagan religions around the world and rebranded them as Christian and built churches over the pagan sites. Why do you think that if I was telling you how to perform magic without their blessing, why they would say it's evil? Not because it's evil, because they're trying to own spirituality. This is the synagogue of Satan. This is the ministry of magic. This is the magistrate from his dark materials. They're trying to control the spiritual energy on the planet and how it's moved, because the spiritual world makes the things happen in the world. JP Morgan said, a millionaire doesn't need astrology, a billionaire does. Everything happens in the invisible world first. That's why the secret societies say Jerusalem was built in the invisible world first. You must think before you create. You think, you speak, and things move. Whether that is because you ask somebody to literally move something, you inspire a population to act upon an idea or philosophy, whatever it is. That's casting a spell. So when they say it's evil, that's ridiculous, because the very fact that they're speaking words, they're casting spells, except they're casting dark magic spells on you to put fear inside of you. When you cast a spell, you're spelling words, and the sounds affect reality in a multitude of ways, and we're going to get into how that works. And I'm going to break this down as simple as possible. By the way, if anyone... Exactly, God Jesus. That's my man, God Jesus, by the way. Follow him. He's great. It's only evil if it's used for evil. Exactly. You judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. It must have evil qualities. Doing it without someone's consent, causing them harm, or doing something in a way that's dishonest, which gives them a misinformed consent. So they might consent to it, but it's because you lied to them about what it's going to do. It's kind of like the trick of the genie. You make a wish and it's like, oh, I'll grant your wish, but there's all these little earmarks attached to it that end up messing your life up. This is what black magic and evil magic actually is. It has to have evil intent. It has to harm the individual or be dishonest with them or do it against their consent. That's how the evil works, not because it doesn't have the Catholic brand on it, right? Prayer, manifestation, magic, casting spells, all the same thing. Divination, same thing as prophesizing. The difference is the prophet understands they don't need a tool. Divination tools like tarot and pendulum, these are like training wheels. What's really happening with divination is you're tapping in to this one here. You're merging the hermaphrodite, or you're merging the Hermes and the Aphrodite into hermaphrodite, which means the conscious, subconscious mind and the power of the heart. This is the greatest supercomputer in the world. You think the AI projections of the future and the algorithms are powerful? Your one single brain is more powerful than that. The reason a lot of magic works is because you've convinced your subconscious mind to go get the thing. I can't stress enough how important this aspect is. Most of your magic performing is actually performing it on yourself. The processing power, you can't even begin to conceive the processing power of your mind. Most magic is a matter of getting your mind to believe, and then it does the thing. That's why Michelangelo's painting, The Creation of Adam, has God on a cloud shaped like a brain, and Adam not touching it because his hand is limp. That means he's not trying hard enough to come in contact with his own mind, which is how he understands God. Okay, but we'll get into the actual types of effects that magic has on the world and how it actually works. I want you, when we're done, to have an absolute faith and belief in what magic is. A quick thing on hope and faith. Do you hope that the sun will come out tomorrow, or do you have faith that the sun will come out tomorrow? You have faith that the sun will come out tomorrow. Why? Because you've seen it come out thousands of times before. So faith isn't something that's like you're trying to believe. Faith is knowing. Faith is knowing. A lot of people will tell you it's not that. They'll try to sell it as hope. Hope is what you have before you have belief. And when you lean on hope and something catches you, like you're proven correct for having the hope, that's called faith. When Christ says all you need is faith the size of a mustard seed, is because once you know all the way. So you only need to know a little bit. What I'm trying to do here is help you to know that little bit that you need to, because all magic is dependent upon the belief that it's real, which can only be done because you lean into it with hope. There's no like certain way that I could say something to you, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, magic is real. You have to lean into the faith with hope, and the faith will catch you. Okay? The reason other field theories, like praying in Christianity, like Enochian magic, work is because you're involved in the system that was already created by somebody who did have faith. You're accessing the energies that were already put into the morphogenetic field. And we'll talk about this a little bit later. Essentially, what you're doing with all magic is building a literal multi-dimensional machine in the invisible world, the world beyond the visible light spectrum. If I could perform magic right now, I could just say, you know, all people here are going to be prosperous. And I close my eyes and I think of a blue pyramid, a tetrahedron that's glimmering, shining, and emanating out light and filling all of you with the knowledge and wisdom you need to get that prosperity. I didn't make money rain down on you. I said, empower the person to be able to know what to do. Me thinking of that blue tetrahedron glimmering, it's real now. It's real. You don't see it in front of you in the fourth dimensional, but fifth, sixth, seventh, it's beginning to form. The reason the Spirit of Jesus Christ is so powerful is because so many people believe in it. So many people are praying every day. So many people are talking about it every day. It literally creates frequencies that agitate the morphogenetic field. We're not going to be able to get completely into the morphogenetic field, but I highly recommend you look into it and Rupert Sheldrake. By the way, it might be good to get a notebook while we're doing this. So when you start to think, this is called topomancy. You think of like a tulpa, right? Maybe you have a spirit animal. The more you think about the spirit animal, the more qualities you give the spirit animal, the more you meditate and talk to the spirit animal, the more real it becomes in the morphogenetic. When magic becomes miracle in the fourth dimensional reality, that's when the morphogenetic field, which I believe is interlaced with the quantum field, agitates our space-time in the fourth dimension and causes particle to be. Anybody with a cursory knowledge of quantum mechanics knows that's how reality works. At the very fundamental are frequencies being played by strings that cut through everything and create opening pockets of the 11th dimension and higher dimensions in every Planck length of space at every Planck length of time. The Planck length is the smallest unit of space we can measure because it's the shortest distance electron can travel that we can observe, meaning that's actually a pixel in our fourth dimensional reality. And because we're living in a fourth dimensional dream or simulation, there needs to be a pixel at every point in three-dimensional space, which can rebuffer at every Planck length of time. So there's a buffer time to our reality, and there is a pixel rate of our reality. It's insanely small. It needs to be that small because of how organized we are, all the way down to the subatomic level. Everything matches up perfectly. So when we perform magic, what we're doing is calling upon frequency to emanate at every Planck length of space in our reality. So imagine our reality as a cube. Inside that cube are a finite amount of pixels called Planck lengths. And at every point, when you twist that space-time, the way you twist it is like the way you pluck the string in string theory. And the frequency that plays manifests a subatomic particle. And you can manifest a subatomic particle at every Planck length. And when you start to manifest enough of them, you build a form. So what you're doing is using the morphogenetic field as the intermediary space where then you manifest physical reality. Hang on, guys, I got to block somebody. We've got this one person in my personal life that's got like this really weird obsession with me, and they keep on doing the whole Jim Jones thing. And so I just have to block those people immediately because they're obviously not trying to have a conversation. Okay. Oh, great, Shauna. So that's another thing. Understand that I think something extremely special is about to happen in our reality. This is the reason all these folks that are trying to control the world are doing all the weird stuff they're doing right now. And they're planning for a big event in 2 weeks or so, probably a schmuck, right? So that's because we're about to tap into what I'm teaching you right now. And hopefully a lot of people get to hear what I have to say here because this is going to be helpful. All right, so we covered a lot here. Let's get started on how magic works. Okay, so I taught you all the basics of magic, understanding what God is, the tetragrammaton, like I said, the 11th dimension, God's throne, where all the strings are played. God spoke the word became flesh. Word is sound, word is frequency. Frequency becomes particle. Flesh is synonymous with matter, material, and particle. The Bible tells you the Big Bang happened, right? It's all the same. And now the Aleph Bet, which is talked about in the Sefer Yetzirah, which is Judaic mysticism, explains to you that there is a divine language which we can use to speak reality into existence. Revelations 2:9, Jeremiah 5:15. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but a people with no name took over a bunch of organizations, and one of the most important things they did is they took over the most powerful religion, the most powerful language for magic, the most powerful institutions, the banks, everything. This isn't a particular group of people that you can say by name. They have no name. They fit in with the royal family, with the Venetians, with the Phoenicians. They're all over the place. So understand that don't try to pick any group of people that are on the planet, because that's what they want you to do, because they steal names, do bad things in the name of something, and then you attack the name instead of seeing that it's the matter of the heart and who they are. But we'll get into that later. So let's make a magic spell. Hebrew is the language, and even more importantly, Paleo Hebrew. Okay. Also, Sanskrit's pretty powerful too. But Hebrew, I believe, is the most powerful because it's based on the Aleph Bet of the Sefer Yetzirah and the Tree of Life, how the reality came to be. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to actually, everyone here is going to make a magic spell. So the thing I want y'all to do, remember, don't worry about the negative connotation people have given you about magic. Magic's just a word, okay? It's also prayer. Arabic's pretty powerful. It's pretty powerful, but it's not as powerful as Hebrew. Arabic kind of evolves out of Hebrew, right? Because you have al, and I think it's bet is the second one. Anyways, it's very close to Aleph Bet. English and Latin's pretty strong, but English, not really. No, English was actually purposely weakened so that we couldn't use it as a magical language. It's very confusing too, right? Purposely, like PH can be F and F can be F, and there's a lot of Spanish is a little better because Spanish is quite musical, and there's not a lot of complications in the actual syntax of the language. But Hebrew's really good. But we're also going to be teaching you how to transcend the languages, but I highly recommend you look into Paleo Hebrew. Very powerful. Sanskrit as well. Very powerful. All right. The native languages, the indigenous languages, also very powerful. Because many times you'll notice that many of the native languages across the world all have Paleo Hebrew qualities. I wonder why. Maybe it's because of the true Hebrew Israelites, you know? Anyway, so let's make a magic spell. Many of the African languages, I would imagine also, especially if they have indigenous roots, right? Ancient Ethiopian, very powerful. Okay, so pick something that you would want to make happen. What I ask you to do is remember what we talked about in part 1, where we discussed the importance of understanding what God is, what God to pray to. Remember, we have, like I said, the tetragrammaton, which is this creative potential. It's a hyperdimensional geometric lattice of creation. It's what everyone sees when they take DMT. It's what the Buddhists call the lesser lights. It's really the glimpse of the greater lights. The greater lights is God's throne. It's the 11th dimension. It's why all this stuff happens. Everything in creation. It's who plays the strings. Okay? And then you have the second God, which is a principality of human beings. Okay? A principality of human beings, meaning it's all of human beings' collective desires and all of our morphogenetic and morphic field resonance. So all of our DNA, which is very close to each other, human to human, same thing as the 100th monkey theory, where they teach the one monkey on the mainland how to do something, and all of a sudden the same species of monkey on the island can also do the same tool use. That's because it's in the morphogenetic field. Emanations of that ability actually go out, and then their DNA on the island catches the information, actual data packets, and then it epigenetically layers on their DNA, and they just know how to do it. This is all real. By the way, a lot of people will say the 100 monkey theory is kind of suspect and controversial. Guess what? They've done hundreds of experiments just like this, Rupert Sheldrake has, and they always proved correct. So even if people tell you the 100 monkey theory isn't all that great, hundreds of experiments, rupertsheldrake.com. You want to add more? Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza. Once you watch enough of their stuff, you will absolutely have the faith and belief in magic. So we're going to make a magic spell. You can call it a gospel. You can call it a prayer, whatever makes you feel comfortable, but understand it's all the same thing. Okay. So everyone picks something they want to happen in their life. Better health, stronger muscles. Maybe you're in a city where there's like a lot of crime. You want reduced crime in the city. Try to balance it with something that's good for you, but also good for other people. Or if you're going to be gifted or blessed something, you're also going to bless somebody else tonight. Okay. So everyone pick their own. And I want you, if you have a notebook, start writing things down. There's going to be some sigilmancy in it because sigilmancy is part of the field theory. What I'm teaching you is the fundamentals so you understand why sigilmancy works. This is sigilmancy, this is topomancy, this is gospel. It's all of them all combined. I'm going to explain to you how it works. Remember, casting a spell, spelling. What are we doing fundamentally? We're creating a sound which has many like linked attachments of qualities, which has an idea attached to it. The experiments on the water. Is it Miramoto? Hazaki Miramoto? I can't remember his name exactly, but he tests the water where the people said nice things to the water and the water froze beautifully in perfect crystals. And then someone said negative things and the crystals formed kind of ugly. But they spoke it in all different languages and it always worked. What does that tell you? Like this person just said, it's the intention. What you're feeling and thinking. When you're thinking the word love in your mind, you're not just thinking the word love, you're thinking of all the qualities of love. That literally, when you're thinking, all those synapses firing, literally emanate frequencies, which is a fundamental language. That's why Neuralink works, by the way, because Neuralink actually understands when you think the word Facebook, it transcends English Facebook because it's a specific idea that human beings collectively figured out what it is. It's blue, it's got a messenger thing, I post my pictures and what I ate for lunch, all that's happening instantaneously in your brain, and Neuralink can literally scan your neuron firing and know that that's what you're saying. This isn't me promoting Neuralink. I don't think you should get it. But what I'm promoting here is that there's a universal human language of synapses firing when we think of ideas. This is the fundamental of the magic. So what we're doing is we're thinking of an idea. So you pick yours. Mine is going to be to cleanse physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually for what I need to do in the coming weeks and months. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to write a sentence. The first thing you're going to do is write a sentence. I hope everyone's doing this along with me because this is going to teach you everything about magic that you've everything. You're not going to be confused about anything. You literally can become a master magician. Just keep practicing this. Yeah. We need to end McDonald's. Hashtag end McDonald's. Okay, so everyone write their sentence, okay? So I'm going to write mine. Mine is completely heal, purify, cleanse, and strengthen. Mind, body, heart, and soul. So I've written my sentence. This is sort of the command code, the master key in your magic, your prayer, your spell. Now I want everyone to take some deep breaths. And I want you to feel that sentence. Remember what I told you about Christ instructing Thomas about the prayer. By the way, again, folks, make sure you watch that part 1. It's going to help with understanding. I taught you algebra in part 1 and teaching you calculus now. Okay. You need the algebra to understand the calculus. Now I want you to take some nice deep breaths and think, Sil Hodgeworth, make up your own. I just said mine out loud so people can get an understanding of how to form that sentence clearly and concisely for the thing that you want. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to be infusing everything. It's your boy. That's what I'm really excited to tell you guys, is because you're going to be able to understand how all magic works. All of it. All right, so we have our sentence. You're going to take a nice deep breath from the belly. And I want you to feel that sentence. And like Christ instructed Thomas, I want you to think of it already being here. It's already true. I want you to feel in your body, your heart, your mind, your soul, that it's already a thing. And I want you to feel the gratitude of knowing that when we ask, when we ask, we shall receive. When we seek, we shall find. That it's happening. Like literally, I'm emanating the frequencies and it's agitating space-time, and it's already starting to happen because I was given the gift by God to be able to create, because I was given a conscious mind. Remember, that's what the Garden of Eden story is about, which we talked about in part 1. So feel the gratitude. Can you start to feel it? It's almost like you can feel the warmth on your skin. Your hair's raised a little bit. I want you to feel into the gratitude of this. Smile. Feel it. You can feel it. You can feel the excitement of it. I want you to capture those emotions. We're going to explain why that's important too. And I want you to think of a word. I want you to make your own word organically. Don't try to think of it. Let it come forth out of you. This is speaking in tongues. I have mine, agua. I'm not sure why, but that's what came up. So I'm going to sound it out, agua. Okay? And now that's my master word. And what you're going to do now you can repeat the sentence anytime during the day. Yeah, that's water. Yeah, it's like agua. It's agua with an extra one. And how water, baptism, drinking it when you're in a fast. Interesting that that's how it came up. See, it's all connected, folks. Like that was totally organic. And yeah, it sounds like water. And water purifies and cleanses. So remember, there's a fundamental language within us that when we allow the speaking of tongues to occur, it happens. Again, you'll have a lot of folks that'll tell you only certain people have this gift of speaking in tongues. Don't listen to them. We can all speak in tongues. And speaking in tongues many times is just speaking the languages that your ancestors spoke, because it's epigenetically written on your DNA. That's why that one person bumped their head and woke up speaking French, because they had French ancestors. And the language is written on what they call the junk DNA. No, that's your book of life. That's your book of your ancestors. Lots of people, I'm not saying that past life regressions aren't true, but lots of people that believe they're having past life regressions are actually having ancestor memories. I've had a lot of people tell me that, a lot of friends, like people I'm close to, that say they were a pharaoh in a past life. There's not that many pharaohs, folks, but that many people are related to pharaohs. So you have the ancestral memories. When you meditate like that, you're going into your own DNA and you're reading the stories. You can see what they saw. It's epigenetically written on your DNA. So I have my word, agua. Agua. What you're going to do now, remember, I'm giving you the Lego set of magic right now. So listen to everything that I'm saying and write down anything you want here. I can now walk around the house and say agua. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the sounding of it until it sounds really powerful. Agua. There's an Egyptian one for prosperity. And it's like a 5-word phrase you do in the morning, and you do it 30 or 16 times, and you blow pure air onto a glass of water and you drink it. And the words like Nazal, Faraj, very powerful sounding. There's like a smoothness and a flow. So when you get your word, I want you to practice it until when you say it, it feels like it rumbles the room a little bit. You almost feel like things are kind of moving and shaking. That's when you know you've done it right. Agua. Agua. Right? It's starting to feel really good. And at the same time, I'm thinking about my body, my mind, my heart, my soul being purified. Agua. And I can almost feel the light coming down when I'm calling in that purification, remembering my initial sentence. Fantastic. I love that you guys are coming up with the words. We'll be using the attributes of God in a different way, and that will be important. Yes, and you might get a whole phrase, like this person said, Masutia anu la tanahi. Now you might get that's the next step, actually, is you want to create the actual sentence that means the first word. So now you have your agua. It's sort of like it's like your your quick master key. Whenever throughout the day, you can say it in your head, you can say it out loud, whenever you want. The next step, yes, is to create a whole sentence. What you're going to do now is take your English or your Spanish, whatever language you speak, whatever language you wrote in, completely heal, purify, cleanse, and strengthen the mind, body, heart, and soul. Now you're going to come up with a whole sentence, speaking in tongues. Same thing, you're taking deep breaths, and you feel the feeling of the sentence and try to take away from the actual syntax of the language you're using. Just feeling the healing and the purification and cleansing and strength of my mind, body, heart, and soul. And then I try to say there's a native language to human beings. That's what we need to understand here. There is one language that we all use. I want you to try to tap into that idea that there's a universal fundamental language that was there before the Tower of Babel. And then speak. It might take some time, work on it. And as you feel a word come out, you're gonna say the word, and you're gonna know that word means a certain part of the sentence. And the more you work at this, the more you'll be able to speak in tongues, write in tongues, and understand what you're saying when you speak. That's gonna be really cool. So the third part is make your sentence, okay? I'm not going to work on mine right now because it'll take a little time, and I want to get to the next step. Okay, now, so the thing with baby gibberish is that they're speaking all the potential phonemes, and when a baby learns a language, all the other phonemes collapse out of their memory and their muscle memory. So then, they just use the one language and only a certain amount of the phonemes. But when they're babies, they have access to all the phonemes that you can speak all the languages. So the next thing you're going to do, I have to block somebody else, folks. I've become pretty iron fist about this now. If people are just here to start trouble, we just got to block them. I used to try to help people and talk through it. But the time for talking with people who are trying to, fight with you all the time, we got to take care of each other. We got to find out who's serious about what we're doing here. Now, initial sentence in your language, single word that's like a command code, then a sentence speaking in tongues. Third is the symbol. You want to draw a symbol. That means everything you're trying to do. This is where we get into the real nitty-gritty. The reason I'm teaching you all these aspects is the more you add to this, the more detail, and it's about detail and hyperlinking. Detail, hyperlinking. What does that mean? The detail of the sentence, the detail of the word, how much goes into it, the pronunciation, taking a deep breath before you speak it, the sentence, knowing like each vowel and consonant and the way you speak an open vowel or close the vowel. Like everything is so important. The more detail you have, the more little neuron firings, the more belief and power in your subconscious and conscious mind, and the more frequency agitation in the field. Detail. What else? Hyperlinking. You want to hyperlink all of these things to each other. So the word is hyperlinked to the sentence. The word means the sentence. The whole sentence in tongues is hyperlinked directly as a mirror reflection of the language that you originally spoke, English, Spanish, and it's perfectly mirrored as the speaking of tongues version of it. When you draw the symbol, work on it for a while. So my symbol is going to be a triangle with 3 little waves of water. Why do I do that? Because the agua word sounds like agua, like water. And when I put the water in the symbol, again, I think about the water in the triangle. Then I see the agua. So I've hyperlinked the symbol to the speaking in tongues word, and the triangle is commonly representative of ascension in magic. And I'm trying to heal, purify, cleanse, and strengthen mind, body, heart, and soul. So it has that Philosopher's Stone symbol power. So I've hyperlinked the symbol to the full sentence. Now, if I really want to get interesting with it, sigil magic, now we're doing sigil magic, I can take agua A-G-U-W-A, and I can take those letters and form the symbol again by writing the exact letters, but writing it in a different way. Like, here's how I explain. That's a rewrite of an A. That's a rewrite of an A, right? Because I just dropped the line in the middle of the A down. It made a triangle. And then I can put the G in there by first maybe drawing a circle and then doing a hook. Drawing a circle, doing a hook. So this is sigil magic, by the way. And I can do that with the whole thing. And then I can collapse and condense and continue to evolve that symbol. Now the symbol is directly hyperlinked to the Agua. Okay? What's next? Totems. Totem can be a rock, it can be a coin, it can be a ring, it can be a bracelet, it can be your favorite shirt, doesn't matter. Pick something, and whenever you wear that shirt or hold that rock in your hand, you're powering the spell. Whenever you touch it, the totem, if you remind yourself to think of the sentence, think of the word, think of the speaking in tongues sentence, thinking of the symbol in your mind's eye. When you go to meditate, meditate and repeat the word in your mind while also imagining the symbol. This is part of the magic, okay? Now, what's next? Yeah, the video will stay on YouTube and the link will always be in the bio. Throw in a dance. Do a small dance, like literally in your house. Just make up a short dance that like literally like interpretive dance. Like if I was to do mine, it'd be like something like that. Like it represents, okay, I'm being cleaned by this and I'm rising higher. And then I do that movement while thinking of the word or speaking the word out loud and imagining the symbol in my mind's eye. You see how you're adding more and more strength and power to the frequency. See, folks, this is what magic is. There's no big secret. I just told you the big secret. This is everything. This is everything. Now I want you to start getting creative. What else could you do? I'll give you a couple more examples. You could make a small song. Magical correspondence. Yes, exactly. You can make a 4-line poem about you in the present moment getting the thing and then what happens because you get it. Music. You could do a guitar, like do a little guitar progression. Or what do you think these drums circle? Paint a picture. Exactly. Everything. This is where I started to learn this. Laum Ilganuver in Thoth started showing me stuff in my dreams after I said that. So this is it, folks. That's the navigation aspect of magic. I just told you everything. You're just adding on layers of spelling. A dance is a spell because you're moving a body in a certain way. It changes your physiology. It changes the frequency of things around you. It changes the way that people are watching you think. When it's interpretive dance, you literally, they're interpreting in their mind that casts a spell on them. And if you're moving for this spell to happen and it is connected so deeply and you're really seeking deeply to do it the right way, it's going to affect them in a way that they're going to help you get that thing. So now that I've taught you that, right, be creative. Anything, add anything, any way we spell, which is any kind of communication, dance, song, poem, instrument, word, symbol, you name it. Everything you add to this forms it more. Okay? That's your navigation to the destination. Everything, anything is going to affect it. Now let's talk about why magic works. Okay? By the way, we'll be trying to look through questions here, but I don't see any yet that have to do with the magic specifically. This is how magic works. Take very seriously what I'm about to say to you. If I think right now about something I'd like to happen, try to keep it simple. I would like to see a brilliantly colored butterfly today. Something simple, something that I'm not getting something big out of it, something where I'm like, oh, do I deserve to see the butterfly? No, very easy, very easy. And it's not something I don't think I have to work very hard to be blessed with. It's a single butterfly, could fly by here anytime. It's hard. It's easy to believe to see a butterfly. It's not like it's something that doesn't happen very often. It's not a unicorn. So what I'm going to do is think about that. I want to see a green butterfly. What I'm doing right now is instilling that idea throughout my entire mind. And now I'm taking a deep breath and I'm letting it go. And I'm letting it move through all of the convolutions in my brain, right? I'm making it a little hard by saying green because I know there's not a lot of green butterflies, but if I see a green butterfly today, I'll know it worked, right? Because it's kind of rare, but it's yeah. See, it's kind of like in this middle ground. So your subconscious mind is going to start doing work. Understand and take me very, very literally right now. Now my subconscious mind is going to make things happen in my day that is going to lead me closer to a green butterfly. Meaning I might have the urge to go take a walk after I'm done here. And I might take a new path, not because I'm thinking like consciously about looking for the green butterfly. It's just an urge that happens to me because I already let the green butterfly thing go. I put the intention, I want it to happen, I believe it can happen. And that's what Christ says too, right? Imagine seeing it, be grateful for it as if it already happened, feel the emotions of it, and then give it to God. Give it to the Tetragrammaton for it to be created. Now, an hour from now, I just might get this urge to walk, and I take a walk down a particular path that I don't normally do, and maybe there's literally a grove of green butterflies that have always been there. I just didn't know they existed, but my subconscious mind did. Why? Because your subconscious mind is Wi-Fi'd to everything, every other human being, every other animal, existence itself, and it will guide you there. I cannot stress enough how powerful the brain is. This is where most of magic, I won't say most, but a lot of magic's coming from. Believe this. Believe this deeply. Believe this deeply that your mind can do incredibly amazing things for you in the background without you having to do any of the extra work. And it will put you in the situation you need to go into to get the thing you're looking for. It will, if you're looking for a new job, it will subconsciously bring you to a new coffee shop where a guy or a girl that runs a company is looking for a person just like you. And it will have you speak calmly and really professionally and have you remember all the things you need to tell that person to get hired. That's how it works. That's one level of magic. The next level of magic is the morphogenetic field. I don't know if you've ever heard, but lots of people have said they've seen leprechauns on St. Patrick's Day, like real leprechauns. Why? Because everyone's thinking about them. And when two or more pray in my name, I am there. I am. Right? What does that mean? I will become what you need me to become. That's the universe talking to you. That's what it means. It's like God is creator and created. And it's saying, I will become what you need me to become. Have desire in your heart, be righteous, have faith that I can do it, and I will create and manifest because this is a holographic reality made of frequency, which gives rise to particle. Remember everything I'm saying to you. Okay? So, believing that your mind can help you get there, that your mind is so much more powerful than what we know, like we're only operating 7 to 15% of our brain at any given time. Whew. The processing power of the brain alone performs what we think is miracles. What it really is our brains are that powerful. You can predict the future right now because you have so much data already stored in your DNA and your mind that you can run calculations that are obscene. In your mind somewhere, I could say to you, what's 3,568 times 10,232? There's a part of your mind that knows the answer immediately and could answer me. It's just how you haven't connected the subconscious to the conscious, the Michelangelo painting. There's a guy in Iceland. You tell him any math problem. He closes his eyes, sees two shapes that represent numbers. They come together, and within seconds, he can say a number to you that's astronomically ridiculous. His brain isn't any different than ours. He's made connections in there that most people haven't made yet. That's the difference. We can form those connections anytime we want by believing that they can happen and exercising the muscle. We all have that ability. So understand this is a big part of magic. Synesthesia, that's another connection. Autism, depending on what we think autism is, sometimes it actually is making different connections in the brain. They're just, what they say, not neurotypical or whatever. Just means your brain is operating with different functions and different, these are all powers that we have, right? They're X-Men, essentially, right? Really, right? But we can all do that. We have to work toward it. And we just believe it. We go to bed at night and say, I'm going to make the connection in my brain that allows me to do obscene mathematical calculations. Then do a whole thing like I just told you. Make a sentence, make a word, make a symbol. I'm going to be able to compute ridiculous math equations. And when you go to bed at night, say, I am unfolding superconsciously. It means I'm becoming a super genius. It happens so quick. If you do, I'm unfolding superconscious, I'm unfolding superconsciously. You repeat that a couple times before you go to bed. Within 3 days, you'll literally increase your IQ. You'll notice the difference because it'll be a little overwhelming. And as soon as you stop doing it and you try to pause it where it is, you won't go any higher, right? You go as high as you want to. Lastly, once we start to affect this spiritual realm, we start to make things. Those things become organized and intelligent. Those are principalities, angels, demons, leprechauns, fairies, some of the Bigfoot, werewolf. We're making these things. And then when our third eye is open, we can see these things. They're real. We made them. Here's a perfect story. There was a king way back in the day. Now, this is a legit story. And I highly advise you check out Jacques, like the French way of saying it, Jacques Vallée. Jacques Vallée. He tells this story in one of his books. King was walking down the road and he saw an obscenely ridiculous looking beast, creature. Had like goat feet and a shovel-shaped head and all this other weird stuff. And he's like completely blown away. He's like, who or what are you? It said, I am the amalgamation of all the hopes, dreams, fears, and desires of the people of this land. That really happens. It's called a principality. When a collective group of people dream of the same thing, a Santa Claus, elves, leprechauns, fairies, Jesus in the sky, Mother Mary coming down in a shining light, it will happen. If everyone's performing the magic, if you're praying every day, if you're believing they're real, if everyone went to the same place and let's say they went to a field, 1,000 people started praying for a thing to happen in the sky, the thing would happen in the sky. I promise you. If 1,000 people went into a field and all meditated on a rainbow forming in the sky, it would form because the universe is mental. Trust me. It doesn't even have to be 1,000 people. Take you and 10 or 20 of your friends or family. Go out, but they all have to believe it's possible. If you have a doubter in there, it's not going to work because they're running anti-energy to it. It might still work if you have like 19 and one doubter, but every doubter causes the destructive frequency of the constructive one you're trying to make in the quantum realm. Okay? This is a dream. Not exactly. We don't have a word to say what we're in, but people say simulation, dream, holographic reality. It is a projection from another place of higher consciousness. Just like our dream is a projection from another place of higher consciousness, which is our mind. All the little characters in your dream, if you lucid dream and start talking to them, they'll try to convince you they're real. And you'll be like, no, you're a figment of my imagination. You become the Jesus Christ in your dreams. Because like, no, this isn't the real place. Your father is in heaven. Your father is the brain that I'm connected to, and I'm trying to talk to all of you. You're all aspects of the God. As above, so below, folks. When you lucid dream, you're doing what Jesus Christ did. Right? realizing that you're in the dream, but staying in. And what can you do in your lucid dreams? Anything you want. What could Christ do? Anything he wanted, perform miracles, right? Same thing. That's another thing. This is called dream walking. Now, there's two types of dream walking. Some will say it's astral projection. I'm talking about dream walking here. I'm talking about going outside and looking at something and be like, oh, graphics are pretty good on this tree. Wow, this illusion is quite persistent, isn't it? Speaking in those terms all the time, because what will happen is you'll adjust your brain to the truth of the reality. And the more you say it, the more you'll begin to believe it. That's that leaning on hope to find faith. And then you'll really become a master magician, to dream walk in this reality. And then all the things I taught you about how to make a spell will be easier, to the point you won't have to do anything I'm telling you. You'll just feel it, think it, boom. You'll know, I want this thing to happen. Okay. It'll take about 2 days. Trust me. You have to suspend your belief in this physical, static, non-moving reality. Everything just requires a buffer time for it to happen. But you got to stay focused. You got to stay in your positive emotions. If you have negative emotions, don't ignore them. Work through them. If you got grief, shame, fear, anger, sadness, you've got to work through it. It's going to slow you down. It's going to slow you down. If you're just overwhelmed with tasks that you haven't gotten done, write all those tasks down. Start chipping them off. Start feeling like, okay, I'm going to get all this stuff done. So you're not worried about all the things you got to get done, and everything that takes you from one-mindedness and pure-heartedness is also going to slow you down. There's one more thing that I really want to focus on here. And then I'll save some time for questions and answers. If you can watch it again. Everyone that's watching, this is going to be on my YouTube indefinitely. I have no intention of ever taking it down. So it'll be there. The link will be in my bio on TikTok, and on YouTube, you'll just see it on here on YouTube. Last thing I'm going to talk about, and then I'll leave it open for questions and answers. If anyone has questions and answers specifically about what we're talking about, I'm not gonna veer from the topic and the content. The YouTube, you'll find it in the link in the bio on my TikTok. So you just go to my profile, click on the link, boom, it'll be there. We're at about an hour. Cool. Okay. Last thing. Everything I've taught you is what some might call the right-hand path. I'm going to fix that Discord link. The right-hand path, as opposed to the left hand. Now, that's not a perfect explanation of it. But there's two primary ways we can perform magic. One is self-sacrifice. You've sacrificed time to write a sentence, to write the symbol, to do the meditation, to do the prayer, etc., etc. Or there's sacrifice of the other. Let's talk about, we're going to get a little dark for a second. It's important for everyone to understand this, though. Folks down there in their basement, sacrificing a pigeon on a pentagram. Why does it work? One, they've subverted the part of their mind that morality keeps in check. It's just a dream. It doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want. I am the god of this world, and I can act in whatever way. And as long as I can get away with it, Machiavellian style. They're able to subvert that, at least temporarily, to be able to do this. That's the first part. The second part, when they do that to the animal experiences extreme emotion and hormonal discharge, and like the most powerful thoughts, because you're in your deep suffering. You're like knowing that you're going to lose your life. There's it's like splitting an atom and getting a nuclear explosion. That's what blood sacrifice is in the spiritual realm. And when you open it up, a bunch of entities come down to take some of that energy. Those entities, because you fed them, they'll give you something. I strictly, not recommend, I tell you, don't do this type of magic. I'm making a point here. It's bad. Okay? But to understand the fundamental thing happening is important. The emotion, the hormonal discharge, the person who's doing the sacrifice, they're getting an adrenaline pump. So this adrenochrome stuff that you hear about, right? And the WikiLeaks and all that. They do it because it brings up power, because it brings up emotions and hormones in you that like jack up your energy. You can do the same thing in states of mind of meditation without hurting anything. The point I'm making is don't think that you have to do it that way, because you don't. That's a shortcut. They're hurting other beings as a shortcut to get adrenaline pumping and that exhilarating feeling. You can meditate and tap in to that exhilarating feeling without doing anything dark ever. You can create all your own magic spells without tapping into old sigils that have dark energy attached to them. One of the most, lazy dark magic is lazy magic. So understand what I'm saying to you. I've just given you, within this last hour, everything you need to know that you will never have to tap into dark magic. I just gave you the master key, right? The thing about that is a discharge of adrenaline, very powerful. Think about when you were a kid and you were thinking about something exciting happening and you'd feel you could make the adrenaline pump in your body and the thing wasn't happening. That's part of the magic. As adults, we kind of lose it because we lose that creative play excitement, right? But we can get it back. We can get it back. The other part is the sacrifice, as in I'm giving something to get something. Black magic will sacrifice others, but they're still giving something. But it's an evil way because you've taken somebody against their will and caused them harm. We can sacrifice, just knowing that, just drawing the symbol, you've sacrificed time and dedicated it to the magic. That's a sacrifice. Or you say, you do the whole magic, you do a dance, you do a poem, you write the sentence out, you do the prayer every day, you meditate, and promise that you're gonna donate $20 to the local soup kitchen every week for a month, as a token of appreciation to God, taking care of God's children, right? Think about it that way. So the only reason I mentioned any of that about the dark magic is, one, I wanted you to understand exactly how it works and why it works. And then also understand that you can subvert all of that with the greater master key, which is fundamental to all magic. Those are the main constituents. I just taught you how to do all those constituents without having to do anything dark. And when you do that, your soul is clean. And when your heart gets weighed on the scales of Anubis, it weighs as light as a feather. This is the difference between being a Super Saiyan and a Saiyan, right? Between Goku and Vegeta. Why does Goku always just seem to have a little bit of an edge on Vegeta? Because his heart is pure. He's not weighed down by anything. He's not locked up in his ego. So he's always just a little stronger because he can spend a little more time training and being creative and getting connected to the true one God, right? So that's my spiel. I think I got through everything that I needed to and that I wanted to, so that you can understand the fundamental. Like, this is everything. Yeah, anime has a lot of the secrets, by the way. Yeah, a lot of them. Like, they're constantly dropping huge hints on magic, God, spirituality, nature of the universe, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's everything I wanted to say. Let me make sure. Oh yeah, old spells, new spells. So you can access old spells, but I recommend you don't, because anytime you're using a spell somebody else made, you're also tapping into everyone that's ever done it, and you have no idea what half those people did. Make your own spells. When you make a tulpa, bind it to you, and the tulpa passes when you pass. If you're going to make a tulpa for the world, make sure it's a pure tulpa that does good things for the world and will never become a parasitic vampire, energy vampire. What happened way back in the day when we discovered this? A bunch of people made a bunch of tulpas, and they didn't bind them to themselves, and they didn't put in measures that would stop them from feeding on other people's energy and emotion, because that's what these demons are rogue tulpas, because they were made out of emotion and mind and Holy Spirit chi. Their creator died. They're still alive. How are they going to live? This is all real. Treat the spiritual world like an actual ecosystem, like the Amazonian rainforest. How are they going to live? They're going to feed on your emotions, your thoughts, and your chi. And that's why we have energy vampiric demons. Real things. Probably most of them were made by human beings, and they didn't set them up the right way. They didn't have a kill switch. They didn't bind them directly to them so that when the person passes, all the tulpas come with them to the spiritual realm, the beyond one. So they're rogue tulpas that's like, well, I still want to be here. So they'll jump in people's dreams and say, hey, you should talk about me and draw me and tell people about me. And then it gives them energy, and they get bigger and bigger until they become what's called wickedness in high places. Super tulpas. Yahweh, Moloch, Baal. That's what these things are. Baal probably started as an individual person making something called Baal, sacrificed something like a sicko, and then when that person died, by the way, the demons will try to set you up to die so that they can be free. That's what the genie is. That's what the story of the genie is. With the chains, when it gets released, it has all of its power without having to have a master. When Solomon died, remember, he laid on his cane to make sure the demons didn't think he died, because when the demons realized he died, they all left and ran amok. But what did Solomon do? He buried all the spells underneath the temple, and he sat his throne over the temple so no one could get to them. What happened? Who excavated Solomon's temple? The Knights Templar. What happened 6 months later? They were insanely rich. What were they accused of doing? Worshipping devils and demons. That's because they were using Solomon's magic. They opened up Pandora's box once again that Solomon had closed. That's what that's all about, by the way. It's Al-Aqsa, the excavation of Al-Aqsa Mosque. They found the spells. They found the scrolls. Didn't tell anybody. A lot of those scrolls give you money. That's why they became so rich. Yes, he buried the Book of Books, and the Knights Templar found it. Okay, so if anyone has any questions real quick, I'm going to be getting out of here soon, but I did want you guys to know all that. Worship no false idol. The God of all is an unspeakable name. If someone tries to tell you a name as in a God, don't listen to him. Solomon was given a master symbol and probably other things as well. But there's also another wisdom to understand how these things work. And it all has to do with understanding the dream world. The key is everything I've done, everything in the whole video. It's been about an hour. So if you're just jumping in now, you're very welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here. This is going to be on YouTube indefinitely. So yeah, I need that little break, Nina. And I'll be back eventually. I just need some time to just rethink things and, How do you bind? I mean, just when you make a tulpa, like I have a dragon tulpa and a raven tulpa, and I'm trying to think of the other ones I've made. I have 7 projections of myself: the warrior, the builder, the financier. Anyways, the ones that are the reflections of myself, the 7 versions of myself, they are me, extensions of me, so they're bound that way. My dragon, we have a special agreement. When I'm gone, the dragon goes on to just destroy demonic forces that hurt people. So that one stays here in the world. And the raven, it's just like there's always this agreement when I make one. It's like, when I go, you come with me. Or when I go, you go to do this thing for the rest of your existence as long as you want to, and then you end your own existence in the realm. Just make that as a part of the building of the tulpa. Keep a magic book. Keep a magic book and write down all the qualities. Oh, by the way, when you're building a tulpa, just like you're building a spell, the more detail you add to it, the stronger it gets. So if I draw out my dragon, write down to the detail of every scale, what the scale is made of, how it, what's its favorite food, all these things. It's a Patronus in real life. It's a Harry Potter Patronus in real life. How do you best support me in my path? I do private sessions. I do the email questions. I like to work for what I get. You know what I mean? I'm not big on donations. If you just feel it in your heart you want to donate, absolutely cool. Go ahead. But I like to work. So if you think that I could help you with emotional counseling, business consulting, I have ridiculous amount of experience and success. Like I've done stupid numbers in business consulting. Like it's insane. Like what I'm able to do for businesses, marketing, sales, whatever. So if you have a business and you want me to consult for you, I'll literally make you ridiculous amounts of money. The emotional counseling, I have my own tension theory, which helps you to map out your grief and literally get rid of it. Not get rid of it, but transmute it into wisdom. I have a whole system. It's been extremely helpful. I've been told that one session with me is like 10 years with a psychotherapist. I think I've heard that twice. That's the best way to support me. If you're interested in getting my help on one of those levels, and it's down right now because I'm taking the break, but I'll be putting all those back up. So that's the best way to support me. Thank you very much for asking, by the way. And pray for me. Send a little magic my way and I'll send a little magic back to you. It means a lot. I believe in it deeply. Most people say, hey, well, how can I help? It says, pray for me. Send me some prayers. Spend a little time praying because it's real. It works. It works. It's had profound effects. When you guys say something like, you are protected, if I'm having a hard time, some weird stuff's happening, everyone comes in the comments, you are protected. You are divinely protected. I know that's working. I know y'all help me and protect me. So it's a big part of it too. Tulpa. Check it out. Tulpa. Just one word for it. Tulpas, thought forms, egregores, familiar spirits, I think, is another. No, not familiar spirits. Servitor spirits. That's another one. No, Earth isn't a tulpa, but Earth has a consciousness, right? It's really deeply connected to ayahuasca and other plant medicines. You can talk to her. Yeah, she's a real consciousness, right? But she's not a tulpa because she's also a physical entity, first and foremost, and then projects off this energy and this consciousness in a spiritual way. Thank you very much, everyone. The turtles. My friend a spirit came to my friend's dream one time and as a turtle person, and told them that I needed to embody this energy of protection for what I wanted to do with my life. So it's kind of cool that you sent turtles, man. Thank you. Does outer space exist? I'm not sure. Anyone notice the Milky Way galaxy is at a completely different angle? And I can't find the Big Dipper. And Venus is doing weird stuff too. I don't know. Something weird in space, if space is real. Thank you very much, everyone. Yeah. You'll probably see the sessions come up officially in a week or two. Like I said, I'm just trying to get my bearings straight. I've had to really take a break from everything. So yeah, thank you everyone for everything. This is going to be my final production for a while. So, but I'm not gone forever. When you need a break, you need a break. I need to be humbled in general, in the sight of God. I need to take next steps. I need to heal myself. I need to get direction. The world is ridiculously confusing. Thank you so much for the gifts, everyone. Reality is ridiculously confusing. I need to take a break from the internet. It's just mind melting and frustrating. So I need to reconnect with nature and everything. But yeah, thank you for everything, guys. I'll still be doing counseling. Yeah, you'll see those links go up officially, Nina, in a week or two. And but you can still reach out to me and we can set something up through Cash App or something like that for the time being. That's what I'm doing right now. But they'll be up. I had to change my payment, my point of sale. I'm not using the website thing anymore. I'm going to be doing something a little more simplified. But yeah. So anyways, thank you all for everything, for all this journey. I'm still here. Love you too. Love you too, Reflections. Yeah, I'm still going to be here. Not much is changing. I'm just taking a much needed break from all of this. And I've got to reflect and figure out what the heck I'm supposed to be doing at this point. I feel like I've given you everything I set out to do in a big way. And the next steps are just going to be, I'm not sure. I have to really search within what's going to be the next steps here. Is the internet viable? Do I need to just get on some sandals and a backpack and walk the earth and start feeding the hungry and helping the homeless? Is it just about the real physical work now? Or is it about meditating and getting close with God and Christ and getting away from the system altogether? But anyways, thank you so much, John. Thank you for being the ad hoc moderator here. Also, I think Desiree, you're probably here too. So thank you for always helping out and being a moderator. That's been great. And yeah, thanks for everyone. All right, guys. Yeah, peace and love. Thank you so much, guys. God bless. I will see you soon. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you took seriously everything I said. It's all real. The Jedi, the Force, it's all real. All right, guys. Love you. Talk to you soon.